What's up, everybody? This is Opu with East Coast Geek Podcast here with another book review. Last time I did Goblin Slayer Volume 1, the manga. This time I'm going to do Grimgar, a Fantasy and Ash Volume 1, the light novel. Although, look at that. That's not a light novel. This is a light novel. Ba-doop. Right there. Look at that. Look at that difference. Like three of these. Anyway, so Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash asked the question, hey, what if you go to a fantasy world and you're not the hero? You're not the one gifted with amazing abilities or found to be insanely capable or the one that has the only whatever spell ever. It's like, what if you're just some guy? You stumble in this world and you're not very good there. That's kind of what this asks. Basically, it's like, what if the NPCs, what if we followed the NPCs around for a little bit? That sounds worse than what it is, but really, I find this story interesting. These bunch of kids, relatively kids, teens, early 20s, wake up with no memories of who they are or where they come from in this new world and get more or less conscripted into a volunteer army. They are each given some money for food, clothing, and to join a guild. You got your basic D&D. What am I trying to say? Your D&D classes. You've got your thieves. You got your healers, which are like the priests. You've got some mages. You've got hunters, rangers, warriors, that kind of thing. So, they end up pairing together mainly because these are the cast-offs. These are the losers. These are nobodies that nobody wanted them to join their team. So they kind of join together. And they just stick, they don't go on epic quests to save princesses or defeat dragons or whatever. They're sitting there and they're like, okay, well, we kind of know how to kill a goblin maybe. And they struggle to even do that, even to kill one. Just one with like 6 people. It's a really interesting concept. I really enjoy it. There's a lot of really good things about this world that they've built. I wasn't that interested in the amnesia angle at first, but it's paying off in the later stories, like Volume 3 that I just finished reading. There is the way the classes work. Like, for example, Haruhiro, our protagonist, which I'll discuss a little bit later, he joins the Thieves Guild. And when you become a thief and you're starting to learn the thief abilities, or whichever class you join, you don't sit there and they're like, okay, well, pick an ability from this list. Okay, well, I want this one. Okay, well, now you know it. No, you have to train in it. You have to be beaten up with it. His master goes and just beats the crap out of him for 3 or 4 days until he figures out how to do the moves. Other ones, like the hunters, they obviously use targets. Warrior, swordplay, whatever. So it's interesting that they have to do that as opposed to something like Konosuba, where somebody teaches it to them, it pops up on a card for them, they press a button, and they know that ability. Or Sword Art Online, where you pick it from drop-down menu. So I kind of like this, the way the classes, powers are set up, that they have to actually train and know how to do it. So, the writing, well, it's translated from Japanese, of course, so I can't say with absolute certainty that, oh, well, this is absolutely terrible, because I don't know how it was originally written. I mean, our translators these days do very well, but I also can't say, because the main character, the protagonist, the one we see the perspective from, Haruhiro, he's such a pacifist, or not necessarily a pacifist, but he's such a passive person that at first, it's just that he doesn't give that many good descriptions. I see this elsewhere, but with different types of characters, like Konosuba, they don't give that many good descriptions of the details around them. But I think it kind of works for Haruhiro, because he's just that kind of guy, the guy that stands in the back of the group, that nobody really talks to. Like, oh yeah, he's kind of a nice guy, I don't know him that well, but he'll let you borrow his pencil. That kind of thing. So the overall, I discussed the main character. He's their thief. I do enjoy him because he has to struggle with becoming from a passive person to an active person as a leadership role. and I can feel for him in that struggle, especially with the group. His group, 99% of them are good. Ranta is the worst character. I absolutely hate him. I understand what he is. He's their hate sink. Like, so all the frustrations of the group get directed towards him as not each other. And I think he understands that's his role. And I also think he has some kind of personality deficiency because he's got this massive ego, and not all of it is for show. Um, he's just hard. He's just hard to like. He's really hard to like. And in this first book, when they're all struggling at level 1, oh my god, he's even worse. Like, later on, he gets better at fighting, and you see that he's actually fairly talented. But god, he's unlikable. The only other character I struggle with sometimes is Yumi. They're a hunter who can't shoot a bow. She has to do a lot of close combat because she talks in third person. I do kind of. There's this little running gag where she mishears people or misunderstands the words they say. I think that's kind of cute in a way, like as a character fault, and somebody corrects them or they don't bother to. But the third person thing just kind of reeks or irks me, I should say. Overall, I think this is pretty decent. It's fairly dark. These guys struggle. These guys struggle a lot, and not everybody. Man, the glare's bad. Not everybody survives. Not everybody survives the first book. Not everybody survives the first half of the book. So there's that, and the body count only grows. And you can feel their frustrations when they see like the people that they came with, that these guys are scraping together just to get their meals together, and the people they came with are they're walking around in the elite armor. Everybody knows them. They're popular. They're beloved. They're throwing around gold when these guys get excited when they make 50 copper in a day. And the gold is, 1,000 copper, I think? That's how his money system works. It's like 100 copper for 1 silver, 100 silver for 1 gold. So, there you go. Somebody do the math on it. I am not a mathist. There's hooks in here that pay off in other... Volume 2, I believe, has the payoff for one of the characters that joins. At least partly. There's references to stuff that's happened in the world prior to, which I'm hoping that leads to something. There's the Undead King. I'm assuming it's kind of like WoW's Lich King, but we'll see. Apparently he's long dead, but if you leave a body after 3 days, they'll resurrect as a zombie, and apparently that's very dangerous. Which, again, try not to spoil too much, but we do see that in the later books, and it's really tragic. Overall, hopefully, like I said, I'm in volume 3 right now, and they're starting to get known a little bit, or they're starting to be able to afford a few luxuries like helmets, which are very important in battle. They're able to afford that kind of stuff, but I'm hoping that it balances out with the bleakness. Because if it's always a Debbie Downer, or it's your audience is going to want to leave because it's constantly depressing. I mean, that's kind of the point, but at the same time, you can't do that all the time. Well, there's no absolutes in writing. It's not recommended to do that all the time, depending on the writing. You have to have highs and lows. You have to have funny moments, depressing moments. You have to have intense action. You have relaxing moments. It can't just be one constant beat the entire time, because that's just boring. It's boring. Then people are going to sit there and see these flawed people become more flawed, and they constantly fail. It's like, why should I care about these people? I want to see. But then again, to circle back, that's kind of the point. These guys aren't insanely talented. They're not geniuses at combat. They don't have the most chakra, or they don't go Super Saiyan. These are the closest to like average people going into a world that they're not prepared for. Or kids. I mean, kids. These are teenagers. They're not prepared for this world. The amnesia angle, I kind of think that's lazy, but it's kind of paying off later on. Again, there's a lot of good about this series, I think. I'm just hoping that the bad doesn't overcome it. So, obviously, I've mentioned several times, I've read up to volume 3 right now. The other volumes are shorter than this. I think they just want to get a lot of the world building out of the way, which is good. And who knows, this might be the equivalent of 2 or 3 volumes for Japan's release, and they just compiled them all here just to get a lot of stuff out of the way, because this first half is a lot of world and character building. So overall, I recommend it. Check it out if you're down for some different types of fantasy stuff. This lit RPG subgenre I'm loving right now. I'm reading Konosuba. I'm reading Goblin Slayer. This is volume 2 right here. I'm reading that, which is kind of like an RPG in a way. There's Overlord I'm reading right now, which I'll be reviewing those books later on, hopefully. And that's all I've got for that. So, thank you for joining me, if you managed to bear with me for this ungodly amount of minutes. If you liked what I said, drop a comment down. Drop a thumbs up. You could always use thumbs ups. Check out the podcast, the East Coast Geek Podcast, and our website, www.stasisgeek.com. That's STASISGEK. It'll be in the link. It'll be in the description below. Bye.